Hello, students. Thank you for joining us at this time. Now, we are left with less than 150 days for the UPSC prelims. And there are certain gaps, or majority of the aspirants face certain gaps. And we are here to explain you that basically what are the pain points which aspirants are facing. And this is not something that we have just identified ourselves. This is based on a proper survey that we did in which thousands of aspirants responded. And based on their response, we have actually, came up with these gaps. So most of you would relate with these gaps. And we will be discussing about these gaps and how this program, StepUp Express program, solves these gaps, addresses these gaps. So I will be talking about the gaps first, and then Ridayan sir will be talking about how StepUp Express program actually fills that gap to ensure that you get a top rank next year. So let me introduce you, Ridayan sir also.
Hello students, I welcome you all to this webinar on StepUp Express program. Thank you Sajal sir for introducing me. And Sajal sir will be initially speaking on the about the various kind of problems which a student faces, especially during the coming months, that is from January till Mains. And then we'll try to see how the StepUp Express is trying to address the problems which are being faced by the students. So sir, I'll request you please.
Yes. Thank you, Ridayan.
Thank you.
So, basically based on my, I would say 13 years of experience, because 4 or 5 years as aspirants and then followed by mentoring for last 9 years or so, I believe that at this stage, when you are left with 150 days or less than 150 days for the exam, there are certain mistakes or certain gaps which aspirants usually face. And this is something which can cost you an attempt, because it's very important to actually fill these gaps to have a real chance in this year's exam or probably next year's exam. So let's understand these gaps first. So we will be actually talking about, or this discussion will focus on these 5 main areas. So if we talk about the problems at this moment, basically 90% aspirants face these problems. And the first being that not able to complete and consolidate the syllabus. The whole idea is that you might have started late. Not everybody starts from May, June. There are people who have started from September, October. Now, how to complete the syllabus? Which classes NCERT to read? What are the important things to, because see, you don't have the luxury of time because you're already late, right? So how to complete and consolidate the syllabus is an issue which is faced by a lot of aspirants, especially those who have started late, and secondly, those who are working professionals, right? Second important issue is how to balance mains preparation along with prelims. See, let me be very blunt again, that this exam is all about mains. It's the mains exam which will get you the job. You score 140 marks in prelims, it doesn't matter. You score 150 marks in prelims, it doesn't matter. Everything which matters is your mains marks, because if you've just crossed the cutoff, let's say by 2 or 3 marks, even if you do exceptionally well in interview, still you will not be, or you will not find your name in the list. So mains, now that we are left with 140 days for prelims, and if you completely ignore mains, well, I would say this will be suicidal, because we need to balance out things. We need to have a balance outlook. Definitely, we have to devote more number of hours for prelims, because we're not left with a lot of time. But how to balance that mains preparation along with prelims is another problem a lot of aspirants face, especially when the January clock, clicks in. Third and very important, and again, I would say 90 to 95% aspirants face this problem, answer writing inertia. Now, again, I'm saying very, very frankly, that answer writing skills is something that is not developed in 3 months. If you are thinking that you'll join some test series after prelims, and that will, probably in 3 months, you'll be able to write a topper level answer. Well, it doesn't work like that. Because answer writing, writing, you have knowledge, but replicating that knowledge in 8 or 9 minutes is a skill. and it takes time to learn. And if you completely ignore answer writing at this moment, the gap of 5 months is enough to actually bring you back to scratch. Because in 5 months, in 4 months, you'll probably forget whatever improvements you did in your answer writing, right? Fourth and very important, again very important, there's a concept called smart study. Everybody, or I would say there are lakhs of aspirants, I would say 30% aspirants do work really hard for this exam, which means that they devote 10 hours, 12 hours a day. Despite that, why there are just 900 people who are finally recommended? Because they are studying, the other aspirants are studying hard, but they are not using smart work. It's not important to study for 10 hours. I had a student called Maurya Bharadwaj. He got rank 28 last year. He was a full-time working professional, IT job, 9 hours of job. And he did not left the job even for a moment. So with full-time working professional, he cracked the exam. Why? Because whatever 5-6 hours he was getting every day, he was actually focusing on area or priorities that had maximum returns, right? I mean, he did not have the luxury of going to each and every NCRTs and all. He actually identified that these are the areas, these are the priorities, these are the topics, these are the dimensions I need to cover, and these are the dimensions I can probably ignore. For example, he did not read newspaper ever. Why? Because he did not have the time for it, right? So smart work is also something which is important, and a lot of aspirants, they only focus on the hard work wala aspect. Okay. Another important gap which aspirants face is that they complete the syllabus, but they are not able to revise scientifically. Well, 1200 page Lakshmikant, or let's say I would say 1000 pages spectrum, you can't revise them again and again. One of my students who got top 50 rank, he actually, and I would name him Aditya Pandey, he actually compiled the whole 1200 Lakshmikant into 28 pages. And that 28 pages were so scientific that if you go through it, all information was there on which a question can be asked in the exam. So note making is another area, and see, whatever notes you get from classroom and all, they're all very good. But they are just your, they will just assist you. They are your aid. Ultimately, your own notes, whether you do a handwritten notes or whether you make it on, on this Evernote and all, but notes is something which is very important for you to revise things scientifically. Because, this exam is unlike your graduation exam where you read a topic once and theek hai, ab exam mein yaad aa jayega. It doesn't work like that. You have to revise things again and again. You have to revise Lakshmikant again and again, spectrum again and again. And if you go back to the original source, definitely you don't have a time for it, right? Similarly, you have completed syllabus, but you are not able to apply the knowledge in the mocks. Again, you're reading, but you're not able to solve the question. Because ultimately, you will be able to, or you will sail through prelims only when that knowledge leads to you solving the question. Without that, that knowledge is useless. You're not here to do a PhD. You're here to crack the exam, right? So that question solving ability is also something which many aspirants face, or the problem that many aspirants face. Then not able to review the mocks effectively. Now, there are many people who are attempting various tests, but just, the attempting of test is just one aspect. The second aspect is that the proper assessment needs to be there. What are the gaps that are there? Whether it's knowledge gap, whether it's silly mistake gap, whether it's, factual gaps. You need to identify the gaps. What exactly is going wrong with you, right? And in this way, I think if a mentor assesses your performance, he definitely will give you a better scientific recommendation, right? Similarly, not able to maintain consistency. Again, this exam has a very large or very long gestation period, right? And it's very natural for an aspirant to lose its stream because, the exam, aisa nahi hai ki 2 din baad exam hai. The exam is after 6 months, 5 months, 9 months, 8 months, 1 year, right? And you have so many distractions. Your friends might be placed in good corporates and all, so there's so many distractions you have. Consistency is again something which only very few aspirants could actually maintain, and that is also which is required in the exam. It's not required that you study 18 hours a day. Whatever number of hours that you are studying, it's important that you remain consistent throughout your preparation journey. And ninth, very important, time management. This is very, very important for working professionals. This is very, very important for people who have started late. You can't really read everything, in the book. There are certain areas, there are certain things. For example, if we talk about UPSC prelims, sustainable agriculture, but there is always one question. Chronology, but there is always one question. So there are certain themes which are more important than the others. And if you are short of time, you have to focus on those themes that has a higher probability of being asked in the exam, right? So basically, these 9 pain points that we have identified, the program itself is designed in a way where we'll try to address these 9 or 10 problems or the pain points which the aspirants usually face. I like to call Ridayan sir to talk about the program and how exactly it tackles these pain points that I have discussed. So Ridayan sir, yes.
Hi. So, good evening, students, and thank you, Sajal sir, for giving me the opportunity to speak about the various features and of StepUp Express and how we are intending to solve the problems which are being faced by the students, especially when the exam is approaching and exam is hardly 4.5 months away. So, as Sajal sir already discussed the various kind of problems which are being faced by the students, so we can imagine that a student faces a ecosystem of problems, so which starts from whether they are able to consolidate and complete the syllabus, whether they are able to apply the syllabus in the mocks or not, whether they are able to create an very objective revision plan for themselves or not, how they are actually able to review the mocks that they are giving, and finally whether they are able to manage the time and consistency in their own preparation. And for these sort of things, after mentoring thousands of students, we realize that to crack this examination, it is not only that the knowledge that you require, but it goes beyond that. There is a certain set of skills which goes for the strategy, what kind of plannings you are actually creating, what kind of goal setting you are doing, and whether you are following up with that goals or not, and to ultimately look inwards whether our process of learning is accurate and effective or not. And that is how we came up with the idea of StepUp mentorship program. And this specific batch called the StepUp Express batch is to cater to the demands of the students who have not yet enrolled in our program, but they want to take help of having a mentor alongside their preparation for the coming 5 months before the prelims and then for the mains examination. So let me just go on and deal by one feature of the StepUp Mentorship Express program, so that it will give you a more elaborated thing about it. So the first feature is individualized one-to-one mentorship. So what do I mean by individualized? See, this is one of the most important keyword that a student has to understand, that it is an individualized one-to-one mentorship. Individualized means that every student has their own specific set of strengths and challenges that they face while preparing for the examination. And actual mentorship begins when a mentor tries to understand what a problem a student faces and then suggest an appropriate strategy or a solution which suits that particular individual. So individualized portion of mentorship, it breaks that one size fits all approach. Every information in the age of internet, every information is present over the internet. Various topper talks are there, thousands of topper talks are there. Every topper is also providing their own strategy about every subject. But why is it not working for every student? because every student has got their own set of strengths and weaknesses, own set of challenges also. And whatever the various set of people are providing the inputs over the internet, they are seeing it from their own perspective, from their narrow set of the challenges they had faced and the strategy which actually worked for them. So if a strategy, if it has worked for a particular individual, that does not mean that it will also work for you. And that is why the key role of a mentor comes in, where a mentor assesses the strengths, capabilities, and the limitations of a particular candidate, and then suggest an appropriate strategy accordingly. So just let me list out what are the major important roles which are being played by a mentor. So first of all, there will be very important strategy sessions and lectures by Sajal sir and myself. So here we'll deal with what to leave, how to plan, and in which areas we need to focus in every subject wise. Because there is a very important principle by the name of Pareto's principle, which says that 80 by 20, which is famously known as 80 by 20, which means by 20% of the efforts lead to 80% of the result. And that is what distinguishes from the normal work that we are doing from the smart work. So if a student knows beforehand that these are the 20% of the areas which yield 80% of the result in any subject, and if you are able to identify them and target them and demolish them in a very sequential manner, every student will be who devises this strategy will be able to clear this examination. Because clearing UPSC civil services examination, again I am repeating it, it is not about having great knowledge. You are not here to do PhD. It is about picking up the areas, identifying them which are high yielding in nature, and then to demolish them, so that you are scoring in every examination that you are giving. So there will be strategy lectures by Sajal sir and myself. Secondly, there will be special ranker sessions also, in which they will be sharing their own strategies which work for them. So you can then discuss with your mentors also that what aspect of that lecture you can actually take from these sessions and then implement in your own lives. Thirdly, mentors will make sure that they will create your own step-by-step detailed action plans or detailed strategy. Okay. Okay, डाल दिए हैं. Okay, so I would like to give you a sorry for the break. I would like to give you a very short information that registration link has been provided in the comment box only also, so you guys can access through that thing. So I was coming to that the third point, that is it is will be the responsibility of a mentor to create a very detailed strategy and a very step-by-step action plan for the students. So for the coming 4.5 months, it will be the mentor who will sit with the students and but in the course of their conversation, they will try to assess that whether at what stage in the timeline that we will be continuing with the mains preparation, and through which month we will trigger the prelims preparation. Because not every individual is same. There might be a case that there might be certain students who must have given 1 or 2 mains. So these people can actually go for the prelims preparation, or they can extend their mains preparation till the month of say Feb mid. But for the students who have not yet given mains or have been missing the prelims examination by narrow marks, so they have to be very careful about what was going wrong with their preparation, what areas they were not able to identify, and secondly, till what month they should carry on with their mains preparation. So that is a very subjective arena, and a mentor's subjective qualitative guidance only can actually help the students in clearing such kind of problems from their preparation. Thirdly, mentors will make sure that there will be very detailed goal setting and accountability. So what kind of best practices that we use is that we give the students a 5 days goals which they have to cover up within the stipulated amount of time, and mentors will make sure that the students are actually following up with that thing or not. See, it happens in the preparation for UPSC civil services examination. Since the gestation period for the examination is so long, it is very natural that aspirants are bound to get demotivated, and they do not show that zeal or fervor while actually implementing the plans they had created. So it is a very common phenomenon which is observed among the students, whether they are good or average or weak, that every student, they make their own plans but they fail to execute it because there is a lack of external monitoring agency which will question you whether the plan that you had created, whether you are implementing or not. And that is the gap, that crucial gap the mentors are here to fill that thing by asking you in a very regular manner that, okay, these 5 days you need to finish certain chapters of certain book, whether you are done with that thing or not. So if you have done with that thing, very good, they will be giving you further goals. But if you could not complete it, they will demand from you proper appropriate reasons, because this answerability component of an aspirant, it gets diminished if there is no mentor alongside. Secondly, focus on improving learning and identifying gaps in the learning. Albert Einstein, as we already know, that he had very famously said one thing, that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Similar thing happens in UPSC preparation also. Years after years, students go on doing same things, but without the effort to look inside and to look into their own learning processes, what is going wrong. So as soon as a student fails to qualify in any level of the examination, they just pick themselves up and then start working in the same way which they had been doing it. So if you are doing the same thing over and over again, so to expect different results is not prudent. And that is where the mentors play a very critical role in identifying the gaps which has been persistent in their learning styles, which the students themselves were not able to identify. And having a mentor alongside your preparation, it gives them a golden opportunity to actually see their own preparation from a third person's perspective. And when we see a process from a third person perspective, it's very easy to realize the gaps, very vicious gaps, which are very elusive in nature, which a student themselves are not able to identify, but it is very much visible to the trained eyes of a mentor. Secondly, to analyze the PYQs, and there will be thematic sessions for PYQ analysis. Apart from it, we specialize in quizzing sessions, as in the mentors will organize quizzing sessions for the students, where students will be given prior information about certain areas, will be quizzed, and then the mentors will go on with a quizzing session. Through that, we tend to augment the thinking of the students. And lastly, how to analyze mocks. Most of the students, after going for mentoring of thousands of students, I realized that majority of the students, they just want to maximize the number of mocks that they are giving. However, the game is beyond that. It is not about the number of mocks that you are giving. It is about whether you are analyzing your performances or not. And this is the primary responsibility of a mentor, to monitor the performance of the in the mocks of a particular student, to identify the gaps, and then to provide a suitable strategy to that particular student. Okay, so let me just go on and see other functional aspects of the StepUp mentorship program. So time management becomes a very important facet in UPSC preparation, and especially when there is only 4.5 months left, roughly 4.5 months left. So time management becomes the central pillar of preparation. It does not matter how smart you are, but if you are not going to give the desired hours which is required by this examination, it does not matter whether you be it Einstein himself, he will not be able to clear this examination, because this examination, more than about your IQ, it's more about your EQ, your persistence, your discipline. So this is a template that I just had a screenshot over here, so as to make you guys understand is that this is what we try to do with the students, and how we go about in training students in how to manage their time. So there are special sessions on time management, and we ask the students to actually fill different work sessions, so that these sessions, for a particular example, 10:30 to 12:30 a student write geography, then 12:30 to 1 essay, then 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. newspaper, and then essay classes. And that is how, so every work session of the student is initially, whenever a student gets enrolled, is initially designed by the mentors themselves, and then students are required to fill whatever they are doing in every day, so that mentors will be able to observe it, and through that there will be very primary component of StepUp mentorship, which is monitoring and accountability. So in my experiences after mentoring like lots and lots of students, this methodology has worked brilliantly in case of most of the students, and this is the approach that we follow over here. And I just wanted to show a great like a sort of screenshot so that you guys will be able to appreciate this thing. Coming to the next feature, Prelims Camp. Now, since prelims or the preliminary examination of UPSC Civil Services examination is hardly 4.5 months away, so to provide a particular revision template, and it is a time where students have already, we are expecting that students are already in a way, at least they have completed the syllabus once, and now it is a time of assessment, because we need to know where do we stand right now in the realm of knowledge or in the realm of learning. So this is the particular time where we need to assess ourselves, because assessments help us understand two very important things. First thing, assessment help us to know whether we have that requisite knowledge which was expected of us, and secondly, it helps us apply that particular knowledge. So it helps us to think in an appropriate manner which is desired by the UPSC. So Prelims Camp becomes the backbone. It becomes the backbone for prelims preparation in StepUp mentorship. So the philosophy or the idea behind Prelims Camp is that to get students ready for the rigorous nature of the time, which will be like during the month of February till the month of May, 26th of May. So students are expected to be extremely rigorous and to give their 200% during this point of time. So what is the idea behind this Prelims Camp is that students are expected to come. They will be provided a proper detailed daily targets, and in that case students will be given a proper daily target. In that thing, students will be expected to come on a almost on a regular basis. If you can see over here, 4th January, 6th January, 8th January. So in this case, almost every day or an alternate day tests are there, and it serves as a revision template for the students also. So overall, Prelims Camp like its idea is based on test and teach model, where students have been shared with the idea or the revision template. Then they are expected to come and assess themselves, and as soon as the test is done, a subject matter expert will be dealing with that particular topic, and they will be discussing all the important areas belonging to that particular syllabus. So Prelims Camp comprises of roughly 60 sectional tests, half tests, and it provides a complete template for a student, so that a student, whenever they gets up in the morning, they know, okay, after 2 days I have my this portion of test, so they will be preparing. And it is very scientifically designed so that it will ensure a time bound completion of your syllabus also. Apart from it, it should come very intuitively to you. What is the role of mentors in this Prelims Camp? So one of the important role of mentors is that mentors will analyze the performance, that okay, if 6 tests of geographies were there, what kind of mistakes were you actually making while you are assessing your geography's knowledge, whether the mistakes were factual, whether the mistakes were conceptual or analytical, or whether you knew that question but you are not able to apply it, etc. So to find the learning gaps by your analysis of performance, mentors try to assess your gaps in the learning and to provide an appropriate requisite solution which suits your challenges. Okay. Coming to the next thing. Apart from it, as soon as we will be done with the prelims part, of course, mains will be coming. So we will be having mains test series, which will be clubbed with special exclusive thematic sessions. Thematic sessions which will be taken by myself and Sajal sir. So there will be focus on especially on the answer writing, articulation development, and development of answer writing skills. Apart from that, we'll be also giving essay module course, which will have roughly 12 classes of ethics of essay by our faculty, Mr. Bijen sir, and along with essay test series also. And lastly, we have our performance tracking dashboard also, where students will be able to monitor their own performances, whether there has been any trend of like improvement, etc., or not. So one of the important questions that student had been asking me all this while is that what is the target audience, or what kind of students can take maximum benefit out of this StepUp Express program. So since the premise building parameter right now is the time that is left for the prelim examination, so this StepUp Express will be maximum beneficial for the students who have at least once they have completed their syllabus, or they have just missed the prelims of the mains examination by narrow margin, and all the working professionals, so that they can actually go on with a very targeted approach or a very high yield approach. So these are the things. So students who have completed the syllabus once and wants to improve their performances, students who have missed the prelims or mains examination by narrow margin, students who wants extensive support for answer writing and mains examination, all students who want to create a more balanced preparation ecosystem by having a mentor. Since mentor will be there with you in every leg of your preparation, there are various there is so much noise in the preparation that mentor's primary responsibility is to cut the noise in front of the aspirant, so that they can like start with actually implementing whatever plan they have. Okay, coming to the next thing. So how does this work? So this is just for your own reference, just to make you understand the entire cycle of it. Is that first of all, a mentor, student meets a mentor. The mentors provide them the study plan for a particular day. If a doubt comes while you are studying, you can ask your mentor. Then there will be assessments. There will be no weekly assessments in this thing. There will be assessments. Based on that, there will be performance assessment by the mentor, and then the same loop will continue. So it's a very intuitive loop which has been designed keeping in mind the entire learning ecosystem of a student. So these are the few testimonials actually which we are very grateful that students actually have benefited from our program. And you can say, like, if I need to read it, thank you for so much for your time and support this year. Your guidance have been encouraged and encouragement have been invaluable, and I'm grateful for everything you have taught me, etc. So we also thank our students who have benefited from the program, and we had been lucky that we got so hardworking students, and we have so many hardworking students with us, for whom we are pretty much confident that they are going to clear the examination with very good rank actually. So apart from this, coming to this certain details about this program, is that it's a 8-month program. This program will end before the mains examination, which is going to be held on September. Fees is 25,000 including GST, modes of payment, etc. And rest. So thank you for attending the webinar. If you have any questions, you can write on the comment box. I'll please request the moderator to please start from the starting of the comments. Yeah, kindly scroll down. Yeah. I request students who are there, if you guys have any questions or queries, you can please drop on the chat box. Okay, so thank you. I thank you all students to attend. Those of you who have attended the seminar. and all the best for the coming examination. Thank you.